Alright, without further ado, let's kick off our huge Mario block and starting it off with Mario Kart 8 DX by Amber.
Hey, I'm Amber, twitch.tv/AmberCXC. This is bonus tracks, 200cc, no items. This is my favorite category. It's probably the hardest category in the game. It's going to be really fast. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, the first thing that you should know is what is bonus tracks. That is these 4 tracks right here. These are the ones that were DLC in the game for the Wii U. It was ported over to the Switch with all the DLC on there. The other thing that's important is that I'm holding down ZL right now before the run has even started. That's for RNG manipulation, which I will explain later. So time starts when I press OK on this screen. I can do a countdown. Are we?
Yeah, you're good.
Perfect. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go, dude.
Awesome. All right, so this is Yoshi Circuit. Yoshi Circuit is the first track of the run. By the way, I'm not holding down ZL anymore. That doesn't matter. It only matters when I selected Yoshi Circuit. So there's a really cool skip in this track. There's skips in over half of the tracks of bonus tracks, so that's really interesting. It's right here. You do a drift and you jump over the waterfall. It is actually a lot more precise than I made it look. It requires some pretty well-timed drifts, but
I think the waterfall kind of like pushes you out, doesn't it?
no, not really. Not at all.
I guess. Kind of like feels that way, but I guess it's just because it's not really like a jump. But
Yeah.
Placebo, maybe.
You definitely drop pretty quickly, so if you aren't like super precise, it's pretty hard to make the cross. You can do it with a mushroom, but without a mushroom, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do it again right here.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So one other thing that's rather nice about this track is that you start with 5 coins. Coins increase your top speed, so you're going to see me getting 10 coins as fast as possible on almost all of the tracks, and then just trying to take as tight, precise turns as possible, and unfortunately I'm making mistakes. You start with 5 coins on the first track because it's versus race, and if you're in 12th place, which you start in, you have 5 coins. So that makes it nice on this track. You have to collect fewer.
We want to talk a little bit about vehicle choice here, how we've got Pinkled Peach is in a pretty optimal weight class, and then the different stats of the wheels, your glider, and the vehicle itself.
Oh yeah,
kind
totally.
of attribute.
So there's a bunch of different stats on each one of the characters, and the characters, the vehicle that you're driving, the wheels that you use, and the glider all change up your stats in some way, shape, or form. So the most important one is probably vehicle choice, but the character, I'll just go down each one and why I pick it. So Pinkled Peach has a fairly optimal weight class, has a lot of speed, but still enough acceleration for 200cc and enough handling that it's rather consistent. And the other thing that's important is her mini turbo stat, which I will explain after I get through all the kart choices. We use Biddy Buggy because it has the best mini turbo stat. We use Rollers because they have the best mini turbo stat. And we use Glider, the Cloud Glider because it has the best mini turbo stat. So mini turbo is rather important. And the reason why mini turbo is rather important is because this is a remake of the game for the Wii U. You may remember that in Wii U there is a glitch called fire hopping. That's used in 150cc. The thing that's important about that is you could jump after you do a drift, and you would continue to have the same amount of speed from your drift, so you would lose your drift speed slower, which makes it a lot faster overall. You just have a drift boost for longer, and that gives you more speed. And then you can continue to maintain that for longer, and that was your speed boost. In this game, Nintendo made that not a thing at all, and if you start a drift, you lose a little bit of speed. But they also wanted to make the game fresh and exciting, so they added a third drift tier, the purple, pink drift, whatever you want to call it, the Ultra Mini Turbo. I'll do one right here to show. Oh, maybe not. Okay, whatever. There's another drift. I'll do it again on the next track, anyways. Excite Bike RNG is a thing too. Each hill has some randomness to it. I kind of just glazed over it going over the kart combination, but that's RNG in the game, and there's not much I can do about it though. So drifting, right. Mini Turbo is the most important stat in this game, if you couldn't tell by the kart choice. If you have a higher Mini Turbo stat, this is a hidden stat by the way, it doesn't show it in the character select screen, if I remember correctly. Maybe it does. I haven't looked at that in a while.
I don't think it does. It shows acceleration, speed, and weight, and handling.
Oh, dude.
Oh, heck.
Yeah, I'll do it in the other 2 laps, I'm sure. But there's a third drift here, and if you have a high mini turbo stat, you get up to that. Okay, it's fine. Everything's fine. You get up to your next mini turbos faster. You here, I'll get it right here.
I can explain it a little bit.
Yeah,
So
sure.
so basically, the mini turbo stat, the higher that is, you not only build your turbos faster, you also get a longer boost and you get a faster boost. So basically, every incremental, like if the stat is like only slightly better, you're actually getting 3 benefits all at once. So the higher you can get it, the better. So
Exactly.
that's pretty much it. It's kind of like an exponential growth of goodness.
Yeah. So our kart, roller, tires, and cloud glider, they're all getting as much mini turbo stat as you possibly can. So this is all about drifting. And then from there on, it's going to be all about taking really tight lines, really fast routing around the track. So this is that skip. You hold a drift over the air, and you get to skip an entire turn. It's rather nice. Unfortunately, I messed it up a lot earlier.
So as you maybe would have expected from something like this, you would think like, oh, well, if you're just playing well, you would want like fastest vehicle or like vehicle with the best top speed, because you're going to be, I don't know, if you can get up to speed and keep it, it'd be good. But in this game, especially with this set of tracks in particular, there's so many turns that like you have to brake around a lot of the turns, so you're going to be brake drifting a whole bunch. So having the stronger mini turbo, which essentially gives you more acceleration out of the mini turbo and stuff like that, ends up being way more important than just having a top speed.
Yeah. This is Mute City. This is one of my favorite tracks. I actually figured out a consistent way to do a skip in a really fast way.
So there's a pretty cool skip. It's intended, but there's an unintended aspect to it that allows you to keep a lot more speed than you're supposed to, which I'll explain when she gets to it.
Yeah. So the one thing that you should know is that we already knew that you could do this without a mushroom. It's just that we found a way to do it without a mushroom faster, and it looks almost the same. So it's really subtle.
So if she gets this just right and she soars over the jump there, then you keep your speed from the jump a lot better than you would. Because if you do a little trick in the air, you get the speed like the little fire blast from the trick. But after that wears off, you fall pretty slowly when you're in the air. But by jumping completely over the jump there with that little hop as she goes around the turn, then
yeah, you get to keep all of your speed. Another thing to note is that in Mute City, there are no coins. You just run over a plate and you get your coins that way. So coin routing is a little bit nifty. I did the skip properly again there. Basically, if you never see me trick while I jump over this large portion of the map, I'm doing it right. And that saves somewhere around like 0.3 or 0.4 seconds per lap. That's kind of all that this game is just a bunch of little tiny efficiencies. As long as you can like be faster at every little bit, piece by piece in each track, it's faster. It's all about going fast. And I got it all 3 laps. So that is actually really, really
That's
difficult.
really good. Let's
well
go
done.
Yeah, I know, I mean, it looked like it was pretty simple, but it took me probably 2 days of lapping to figure out a consistent way to do it.
I mean, you know you're doing it right if no one can tell, you know.
Exactly, right? Crossing the finish line there was really slow because I messed up Dragon Driftway, but
Do we have time for a quick donation?
yeah, totally.
All right, we have a $4.20 donation from Avenged Again. Holy smokes, is that the world famous Speed Lady? Twitch.tv/Amber_CXC/subscribe.
Oh my god.
Holy
And
smokes!
Please. This is Wario's Goldmine. It is an example of having way too many coins on the track because, I mean, if you couldn't cap coins, you'd probably have like 40 coins by the end of this track. It's a little bit ridiculous.
I mean, it's a gold mine, so like.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. One thing to note is that the shortcut on this track is actually slower, and it's slower by a fair margin.
So it's like a long cut.
Yeah, it's a long cut. It's not a shortcut at all, whatsoever.
is there any redeeming aspect to it in any regard ever? Like
It looks cool.
CCs
That's
or-
about it. There's no speed qualities about it. It's a slow cut. So I'm gonna go for a drift boost here, which is probably only done on this track in this category, if I remember correctly. What you can do on that ramp is you can hold a drift and then go over the air on the boost, and you'll still be drifting. Like, you won't release the drift, and then that'll build up your drift meter more. Another reason why having a high mini turbo stat is important. Hint, hint. And you'll be able to get a super mini turbo or an ultra mini turbo by going in a straight line. So like I landed and I already had a super mini turbo. The only downside is you don't get to trick on the ramp, which isn't that big of a deal. Also because it's the third lap, I'm going to do that. And that is Wario's gold line.
As you can see, she's actually lapping the CPUs on a lot of these, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, the CPUs are kind of dumb. Even with a lot of rubber banding on all of the CPUs because it's hard computers. That's all that the computers do in this game, by the way. Easy, medium, and hard computers all have the same AI. They just are allowed to go faster. So this is Rainbow Road. This track is some people's favorites. It's one of my least favorite tracks in the game because the flop hitboxes are massive and it just bothers me. This is another track where brake drifting comes into play, especially on that lap, or on that turn. So what brake drifting is you're doing a drift, you're holding accelerate, because you always hold accelerate. It's just that while you're drifting and while you're holding accelerate, you're also tapping the brake button. That, all it really does is it slows you down a little bit and lets you take the turn more tightly. And it's really, really useful.
Is this something that you do in other modes like 150cc as well, or is that something that's like more common in 200cc because of how fast you can go?
It is almost entirely 200cc exclusive. There is one instance in 150cc where it's used on the new Mario Kart 8 Rainbow Road on the very last turn. But other than that, it's 200cc tech only. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's used in almost every track. Like I'll subconsciously brake a little bit to take a tighter turn. It's more prominent in Deluxe than Mario Kart 8U because you have a higher percentage of the time where you're drift boosting because of the third drift tier and because of the stat reworks. You just have so much more speed from drifts that you'll find yourself needing to brake more often. It's really funny, but it still is a faster game than the Wii U version. It's also a different game. So this is Ice Ice Outpost. It's a fairly boring track. There's not too much going on here. There's a little skip that I don't go for because I'm not very consistent at it, and it doesn't save too much time. You can kind of trick over that ramp, and it saves like 0.2 seconds per lap, I want to say. But it's tricky. So if there are any donations, that would be a wonderful time.
Well, at the moment we do not have any donations. However, just want to remind everybody that we do have some upcoming incentives, such as the Play the Wario Hot minigame in Wario Land 4. Crowd favorite, of course.
That's one of my favorites. I'm going for that.
There you go. So that's at 90 out of $150 raised, so let's get that last $60 raised for that.
Since I've fallen off twice now, I fell off twice in Dragon Driftway. I'm gonna say that if I fall off ever again in this game, like for every time I fall off, including those two in Dragon Driftway, I'm gonna donate $15. And if people want to match me, that would be really cool. I'm already at $30, and hopefully, if I don't suck, well, maybe I should suck on purpose.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Though we do appreciate it
Don't
nonetheless.
suck on purpose, but think of the kids too.
Okay.
Wow.
If I don't fall off ever again, I'll donate 50 instead of 30. How about
There
that?
we go. There we go. That
There we
sounds
go.
good.
That's fair.
So this is a no items run. Is that an effort to just remove RNG, or is that like what kind of perk is that?
It's
purpose of
twofold.
category?
So there's no RNG in this. Well, except for very minor character RNG, which only matters if they bump into you, and Excite Bike RNG for what ramps are where on that track. Otherwise, this is almost entirely RNG free. It's a test of skill. It's a test of speed. With items on, you'll have a little bit more variance, and obviously there's blue shells and there's lightning shocks and red shells and everything to worry about.
It just makes it a more competitive category or a more skill testing category.
Yeah, that's definitely it, because there's a lot of RNG with items on.
It's also just faster overall by quite a bit, right?
Yeah, just because you're not
even
getting
without,
hit.
Oh yeah, because you're getting hit more often.
Yeah.
You
get hit way more
that
often
outweighs
than
the
you
benefit of possibly getting a mushroom. Or
Yeah,
Because you
well,
hardly ever get mushrooms. in the first place.
there's I don't even know if it's possible. Oh gosh. Oh yeah, so I just did a skip there, and then I messed it up afterwards. Hyrule Circuit has a really cool skip. I'll try to explain it better in the second 2 laps. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be angling myself very precisely through this hallway, And then after this hallway, I'm going to start a drift and go over a hill. Try not to bump into a plant. If I bump into the plant like I did in the first lap, then I guess I bump into a plant. But it's right here. And you just go over the grass, and that skips a really large turn. If you look on the map at how much I'm skipping, it saves probably around 1.5 seconds per lap. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, a lot of these like little cuts, skips and stuff like that are pretty much only feasible on 200cc, whereas 150 might just not be going fast enough.
Yeah, it's definitely mostly about the speed, because sometimes you can just drift on grass if you're going fast enough. And then there's this Deku tree that's going to hit me, Deku plant. Because this is Hyrule Circuit, and the coins are rupees and everything. It's great. So that was Hyrule Circuit. This is the halfway point of the run. The second half is more difficult, if I had to say. But it starts with a pretty tame track. I don't know. Some people think it's really, really difficult. I don't know. Baby Park. Welcome to NASCAR, ladies and gentlemen. This track is, it's very boring.
This isn't NASCAR. You're not turning left. You're only turning right.
Sorry, this is reverse NASCAR.
This is Australian NASCAR.
Australian NASCAR, yeah, down under. With items on, it's pure chaos, and there's not much you can do to avoid getting hit. With items off, it's pretty boring. It's just a bunch of turns. One thing that is nice, though, is that 200cc, you're going fast enough, you can just drive over the grass.
Yeah, the little bump that's at the start of the pleasure gets you most of the way across the grass.
And
The
then you
tiny
just-
bit at the end is good enough to just drift over stuff.
Yeah, you just release your drift when you land.
You can also lap the CPUs like twice because it's 7 laps.
Oh yeah, it's at least twice, maybe 3 times.
Maybe, yeah.
And I really wish that nerves hadn't gotten to me during Dragon Driftway. I can't stop thinking about it.
It's alright.
Alright, so next up is Cheeseland from the Game Boy Advance. This is a weird track.
This course is really cool.
It's really cool, but it's a weird track. And you're going to see the biggest time save in the entire run in this track. And you're going to see me do it 3 times. So this track actually has 2 skips in it. One of them is right up here. Do a drift and just go through this little hole, and it's perfect. After that, it's a little bit of coin collection, going out of our way for these. And then a drift here. This is another one of those drift boosts, but I angled it a little bit poorly. I do some tech on that glider pad where I jump. This is the skip. I skip like that entire section. It's a lot. I'll do it again and explain it a little bit better.
Are there any skips or shortcuts that are like require you to have a mushroom or something, or because of mini turbos and stuff, can you just ignore needing that?
There are specific mushroom skips in 200cc, but they're not really used in items runs or no items runs. Well, no items, obviously. They're more time trial specific, and I just messed it up. That never happens.
The cheese, if you hit
That
the cheese,
literally never happens.
it bounces you pretty far out of the way, like it turns you away from it, so it's pretty hard to like, get on the way. Hit the cheese. Does the cheese stay gone if you hit it?
No, it respawns. It respawns in like 5 or 10 seconds, I would say. Anyways, here it is again. Not going to mess it up this time. Well, okay. At least
Still probably faster anyway. Like,
yeah, it was still faster.
It's still pretty Gouda, to be honest.
Oh my god. All right,
You're off the couch.
you're off the
Reached our time
couch.
limit for the day.
Yeah, I think I just got myself banned from all future Calithons.
We at Calithon do
You're
not,
never on my couch again.
do not condone the pathetic jokes made by some couch
All right,
members.
this is my favorite track in the run. Absolutely, far and away my favorite track in the run. This is Wildwoods. It is the prettiest. It is the most fun to run. It's the most fun to play with items on or off. It's beautiful, and it has one of the coolest skips. It's gonna. I practiced this one a lot. I promise. I practiced the Mute City one, and I got that 3 out of 3. I practiced this one a lot too. So unfortunately, this skip is one of those ones where if you mess it up, you lose a lot of time, and if you do it right, you only save a little bit of time. But I don't really care. I'm gonna do it anyways, and here it is. Look at this. Boom. Skip just that little wooden platform, that little turn. That's all you really skip, but it looks real nice. It's a beautiful skip.
It's really hard to line yourself up for that one because the jump right before, you can't really turn very well when you're in the air.
Oh yeah,
And
it's ridiculous.
yeah, since it goes from being pointed down to being flat again, then like, you can't even really see where you're going. So it's a bit of a blind setup for it. So it's pretty tough to do, even though it looks fairly basic, just like a little tiny cut. But
Yeah,
it's pretty tough.
just that little thing. Like for context, the world record holder for this category, Mistwalker, accepts that it is a faster strat, but does not go for it for consistency's sake. And I go for it. So I mean, I just put a lot of time into this skip. It's really fun and it looks really nice. Unfortunately, all these lily pads aren't in really good places in lap 3, but that's not a big deal. And I got it all 3 times.
Well done.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks. So after this is Animal Crossing, I believe. Yeah, so this is that item manipulation. This is why I held ZL at the very beginning of the track. So there are 4 different modes for Animal Crossing. There's obviously spring, summer, autumn, winter, just like the 4 seasons in the game. However, for whatever reason, if during track select you hold down L, R, ZL, or ZR, those all correspond to one of the seasons, and it will play that one. We think it's a dev tool that they just left in, but it might just be an Easter egg. Not 100% sure.
Could be both.
It could be both. It could be like a...
DevTool turned Easter egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Coin collection on this track is a little bit tricky, so I'm going to fall back and grab these 3. This track is fairly simple. In the other seasons have ramps in different areas that you can bump into, and it makes it a lot slower. And then in winter, the track is all iced over because it's winter, and that makes you lose on average 6 or 7 seconds, which is a lot of time. So yeah, between this and Neo Bowser City after this, another decent time for donations.
Well, we do have a anonymous $20 donation with no message. Thank you very much.
Oh.
And we do appreciate everybody's donations. Doing pretty well so far. Nearly at $4,500.
Oh, sick, dude.
Think we can get
do
there
it?
before the end of the run? Yeah?
I think it's possible.
All right. let's
Super
do it.
doable.
Yeah, $53. You guys
Winnable.
can totally do that.
I'm saving the best for last. I waited. I made sure that when they made this game, Big Blue was the last track, because that's got one of the best looking skips ever. I made sure when they made the game. I went to Nintendo and said, make this the last one, so when I run in Calithon 3, I'm saving the best for last.
Well, your dad is Nintendo, isn't it?
Yeah.
My dad works at Jaguars.
This is Neo Bowser City. It's a lot of people's least favorite tracks because it's all slicked over, and there's this really obnoxious set of turns right here, where you have to do basically a U-turn, and then a U-turn, and then a U-turn.
You can hear whenever her wheels are squealing, she's braking.
Yeah.
So you can hear she pretty much has to brake for the whole thing. It's how tight the cranks are.
Yeah, and I was braking to try to get coins, and as you can see, 3 coins, lap 1, like not good. This track is tough. It's not nice. I'm gonna throw coins out the window on this one.
Well, ask and we shall receive, because we just got a $53 anonymous donation, which took us to $4,500.
What a guy.
Oh my
what a
god.
Let's go.
Sweet. Any message on that, or?
No message, but thank you.
Bell Cup is an interesting beast. In my recent PB, I gold splitted the last 4 tracks of this run, which is the Bell Cup, starting with this one, and then the next 3 tracks after that. Gold segment, gold segment, gold segment, gold segment. It was ridiculous. I thought that run had no chance, and then I did that. So these last 4 tracks are full of surprises.
Ribbon Road's pretty cool. I like this course a lot.
Yeah,
personally.
this course is awesome. there's a lot of really interesting, like, minor things that happen, and I guess I can try pointing them out. So like, you'll do a little drift here, and then a super mini turbo there, because it's faster than a UMT. You'll do two SMTs here, because it's faster. Like, just like a bunch of little things. You'll do a drift boost. You'll brake here so that you can land on this, and I messed it up, of course.
Yeah, landing on that's super hard because the whole ground, you can see it's waving. So not only is it really easy to catch air, and whenever you catch air, it kind of throws off your drift and makes you control a little bit differently. But seeing as it's moving, it makes it even harder to kind of have to react to how the waves are at the time.
Yeah.
If you jump at the wrong time, you can even get a little boost there, and that'll completely throw you off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you
because
start to jump.
for whatever reason, well, on these wavy segments, they wanted you to be able to trick on it to make it go faster. However, sometimes it's hard to see when you would be tricking, so you'll just accidentally trick. To prevent that on this track, I like holding down the drift button while I'm still in midair, so when I land, I immediately start a drift no matter what, and I won't trick. That's a pretty easy safeguard against it. Pretty decent ribbon road, all things considered. Aside from missing the skip in the first lap, it was quite good. And that's Ribbon Road. The next two tracks are going to be the last two ones. Super Bell Subway, which is the next track, actually also has some RNG to it, but it's a little bit more subtle, and you might not realize it if you don't watch this game very often. There are a couple of different patterns for the subway cars that you can get, and it's random. There's no dev bug there's no dev tool like in Animal Crossing. You get one of 3 or 4 patterns for what the subway cars look like, and you just gotta kind of deal with it. This is the most common one though. Isabel, what are you doing out of here? This is my turf. And so sometimes you'll get patterns that you're a little bit less familiar with, and it'll make you hit them. Because the subway cars, much like the Thwompson Rainbow Road, the subway, or the cars in Toad's Turnpike and Retro Tracks, like, the hitboxes are way bigger than you would expect them to be. But they give you enough space where you usually don't get it. I'm usually more concerned with going off-road on accident than hitting them. Also, you can just do a little drift and go over that grass, and it's faster too. 200cc things.
Yeah, I think I kind of mentioned it before, but like a lot of these skips are like very obviously mushroom spots designed for 150cc or something like that. But at 200cc, when you're playing well, you have good amount of points with this mini turbo right before it, and you can just go without mushrooms. That's kind of what makes it have so many skips here.
Yeah, this big one on Big Blue is completely unintended though, which is really fun.
Some of these are unintended, but yeah.
Yeah. Most of them are intended. In some way, shape, or form, they just were intended with mushrooms. But this is the pride and joy of Mario Kart 8 speedrunning. This is the bread and butter. The bread and butter of Mario Kart 8 skips.
And at the end of this course will be time, by the way.
Yep, when I cross the finish line, it will be time. So this track, much like Mute City, has the boost plates for collecting coins. So we're just going to hit those early, get a couple drifts, and roll with it. 9 coins here is pretty much standard. If you, for whatever reason, you can get 10 sometimes. I don't know why.
Maybe just a slightly less direct line, so you spend more time there.
Yeah, that makes sense. But here's the skip. So I'm going to be doing a pretty large drift here. I'm just going to be holding it forever. And then jumping up and holding down. And then, like that.
Make it.
Nice.
Very nice.
Thank you.
That was good.
Yeah, you jump over the entirety of lap 2. So you're like, I'm already on lap 3.
Oh, right, because this is one of those.
Yeah, it's one of those single lap
Mario Kart
courses.
Yeah, single lap courses.
Yep. Then it's just a couple of drifts, take good lines, good turns around the course. You get to do another little thing here. I think this one was intended. And then time is going to be now.
Nice.
28. I think it was a 28:44.
Yeah,
From
28:44,
I think
45.
so.
You can hit the done button on the timer. Come on, guys. You got it.
Time.
There you go.
There we go.
Hey,
Hey.
I'll take it. So that was a 28:44. My PB is a 28:26. So pretty
Pretty good,
close.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you all so much for watching. Sorry I messed up so many skips.
You got most of them.
I mean,
pretty
let's
much
see.
nailed it.